It has been more than 100 days since the Israel-Hamas war began on October 7th, following an attack by Hamas on neighboring Israeli communities, in which more than 1,000 people were killed, and approximately 250 were taken as hostages into the Gaza Strip. That same day, the Israeli government vowed to eliminate the group responsible for the massive attack. Since then, intense fighting between the Israeli army and Hamas, with its installations deeply embedded in civilian areas, has devastated Gaza. This conflict has led to the internal displacement of approximately 1.9 million people, who are now living in dire conditions.
Words cannot capture the full extent of our suffering. The situation we are in is indescribable. We are left with nothing, absolutely nothing. We are deprived of human rights and normal life. We aren't living as people should. Our children are sick and we have vulnerable elderly people. We are responsible for both older and younger children. We are facing an extremely difficult situation. We have no source of income. We are among the poorest people. We have abandoned our normal roles in life, finding ourselves in the direst poverty. What will become of our situation?
We suffer from a lack of fresh water and cannot find water to drink, meaning we have to walk for 3 or 4 hours to get water.
Only God knows the extent of our suffering due to the lack of water and our inability to bathe.
When we go to the bathroom in the morning, there are usually 30 to 40 people waiting in line as well.
Many feel their situation cannot be understood from the outside.
Life is extremely difficult, beyond description. Picture tents, children, sand, and graves. This is the reality we live in.
As of January 15th, 76,550 tons of humanitarian aid have been delivered to Gaza, coordinated by Israel, Egypt, and the United Nations. Yet Gazans report this aid is insufficient, and there have been instances of Hamas members hijacking aid trucks en route to the Strip.
The aid we receive isn't enough for even one person, let alone two, and there are nearly 20 of us in one tent. During rain, our situation becomes dire, lacking even basic necessities like pillows and blankets to keep us warm. There is hardly any aid, even from UNRWA. What little we receive, like firewood, is insufficient. Everything is expensive and beyond our financial means. We are struggling against exploitation.
Gaza's citizens are keen to return to their homes and towns, despite the devastation wrought by the war.
We demand an immediate ceasefire and to return to our homes.
Even if it meant walking all the way back right now, I would do it. I want to go home.
Our homes, even in ruins, are better than the humiliation we face in displacement camps. We prefer to be amid the remains of our homes and no longer standing buildings than to live in these camps.
The people are not only awaiting the end of the war to return home, but are also in desperate need of medical treatments, which remain inaccessible until the war concludes. There are no hospitals. They say things will return to normal after the war, that we can go back then. However, the war shows no signs of ending. Some are determined to rebuild their lives, regardless of the circumstances.
We don't seek anything from the world. It's of no use to us. Only God is sufficient for us. He's the best to manage our affairs. We have no need for anyone else, since no one even lifts a restriction or dictates our actions with those who have been waiting and might turn against us. They bombed houses around us, and yet we're committed to rebuilding.
Yes, I plan to set up a tent where my home once stood. On my own land, in my own place. I refuse to leave my home and land. We do not pose a challenge for international politics.